Hi chess kids, this is Mr. Konashek, and it's been so good to see you guys online playing in our online chess tournaments. And I hope you guys are having fun, I hope you guys are learning, and most of all I hope you guys are well and that you guys are happy and safe. And I'm hoping that I'll be able to see you guys in person soon. And I know it's been difficult with school closing and cancellation of chess tournaments and all your other events, but I hope these chess tournaments that we're playing online add some brightness to your day and add some fun and some learning as well. But I thought I could help you guys learn by giving a daily chess review from our tournaments. So we'll call it the game of the day. And so this is from Tuesday, March 17th, the game. And this is between TinyOrganicPlum in the white pieces, and then playing black was PureFarKiwi. And I think the players who know who they are, who has that. And if this is not your game, I'm sure you can learn a lot from this as well. So we'll start out with this game here. Both players do a very good job with their openings, taking control of the middle, right, the middle of the board. This right here was a little bit of a mistake here by PureFarKiwi. The reason being that while it's good to develop the bishop, this move probably was not best because white could just play pawn to c3, and that would force black to have to retreat all the way back. And the general rule of thumb in the opening is that you don't want to move the same piece twice. So if you're having to move, if you move the bishop once and then right away having to move again, you fall behind in development. So it's not the end of the world, but if you look here, white has 1, 2, 3 pawns out there. Black has white, their black pawn is out, and black would either have to retreat all the way back, or and this kind of makes things messy. So a better move, if we were to back things up, might be a simple knight move. Usually good openings include moving your knights out before your bishops, just because you can aim your knights at the middle and protect pieces here. But so back to the game that was played. I'll back up a little bit. So black played bishop b4, brought the knight out here, and that actually kind of lets black off the hook a little bit because black just ends up trading pieces here. And even though white's a little bit ahead and has more pieces here, we could have added more pressure. So instead of playing the knight out, which I understand you want to develop, maybe adding pressure here and forcing black to retreat, like I said before. So trade of pieces there. Knight to c6, good developing move. We could have brought the pawn out as well, but so far both players are in a pretty good position. A little bit messy here with double pawns. Anytime you have double pawns, it kind of limits your range, but not the end of the world. Bringing the knight out here. Let's see, we could have added more pressure by moving the pawn out, but then again it would have been having to move this piece again. But adding pressure here on this e5 pawn could have been an option here, since you already have this pawn here. So if we had played pawn to d4, pawn takes back, then black cannot take because black would have taken back and would have had the advantage here. So so if we had played here, you would have had two pawns in a pretty good position here, in control of the center here. And adding pressure here. So that's one thing to think about. So openings can be tricky. But let's go ahead and move on. So pawn out, or knight out, and then black played pawn to d6. Better would have been to move the knight. When we bring this pawn out here, it kind of limits our development a little bit. So bringing the knight out could have been better. Bishop here is a little tentative. Again, it kind of limits us here. We're kind of crowded here. Suggested move could have been, like I said earlier, moving the pawn to d4. But bishop's here, so neither side is really in a bad spot. Nobody's really made any bad errors so far. Bishop out, putting the pin on the queen. Okay, not a bad move. I think here we want to try and get our king castled, so maybe bringing the knight out first to get castled, but I can see what black is trying to do here, limiting the knight so he can't move the knight, otherwise the queen is gone. Protecting the pin by bringing the bishop out and allows the castle is a good option. Another idea would have been to move the rook out, attacking an open file and putting pressure on this b7 pawn. Would have been an option. Black just trade here, and I think it benefits white because white is able to develop a piece here to do that. So if I were black here, I would probably just leave this. You're okay here, and you want to finish your development. So either bringing the knight out here to e7 or f6 and getting castled, whereas a trade here only takes the pressure off white. There's no more pin, no more threat of a pin, and white can castle here. Black finally goes ahead and moves the knight out. Good move. Okay, bringing the queen out. Okay, so what that does is enabling to center the rook. Okay, good move. Another move could have been to bring the pawn out, and starting the attack, or even castling. So queen is brought out. Okay, again, looks like with the intention of freeing up space for the rook. Okay, white castles queenside. So a little bit puzzling here because we have an open file here and making this susceptible for white here. The defense on this side is kind of open here. Or lack of defense, where the pawn structure on the king side is much better. So and also a queenside castle, whereas maybe a kingside castle. So if black were to castle the king side, this would enable black to start attacking on white's king on this side over here, on the queen side, while being defended over here. So anytime you have opposite castling, so queenside, kingside castling, you want to start attacking their king side, start pushing pawns up. But that's not what black decided to play. It was a queenside castle, and you don't want to start attacking with your pawns in front of the king. So white wouldn't want to start attacking here. You need these pawns to protect your king. Okay. Centering the rook. Okay. Black plays knight to a5. Putting the knight on the edge of the board limits your knight, and there wouldn't be much reason for this because you couldn't move the knight out here to c4 or b3. So anytime that your knight is on the side of the board, you couldn't go off to the side of the board there. So it's kind of limited. What you might want to do is, since you have nothing here, maybe start a pawn storm and start attacking this side. Again, here white's attacking with the king's pawns, or the pawns needed to protect the king. Since we do have a double pawn here, we could start pushing a pawn up. And black sees that white is very weak on over here. There's no pawns to protect. This pawn was just given up. And now white is in trouble here because there's no defense. Okay, so white here is attacking a free pawn. Okay, so it looks like a free pawn is taken, but white wouldn't have any other pieces to follow up with. And this could also be a common trap. So if it weren't for here being a weak side, black could easily trap the knight, or I'm sorry, trap the bishop here and prevent any escape. So if the bishop were to move back, black could take, but here we see a checkmate in one move. White goes after, and then it's an easy checkmate for this side. So overall, pretty good opening by both sides. We want to just be very careful with when we castle to not start attacking with the pawns that are protecting our king. So I look forward to seeing more of your games. Keep playing, keep practicing, and we'll see you online every day during this extended break or extended school closure at 1 p.m. on our Chess Kid tournaments.